Welcome to Highway Herald, your roadmap to the latest in auto. Today, we're diving into the tumultuous journey of America's largest car manufacturer. The journey of America's biggest car manufacturer is littered with questionable choices, leaving many to question its survival over the years. Following the government bailout and the ensuing chaos of the global financial crisis 15 years ago, it seems we're on the brink of another tumultuous chapter in the company's saga. This time, it's centered around GM's foray into electric vehicles, which appears to be more of a spectacle than a success. Skeptical? Let's dive into these 6 telltale signs. Sign number 6, the Ultium Misfire. A few years back, GM unveiled its shiny new EV platform, Ultium, amidst much fanfare. With cutting-edge tech under its hood, it seemed GM was poised to give Tesla a run for its money. Billions were invested, and a slew of vehicles rolled off the production line. The GMC Hummer, Cadillac Lyriq, Chevy Silverado EV, and Chevy Blazer, to name a few. Yet none of these models managed to rev up the sales charts. Despite selling 76,000 EVs last year, the majority were the trusty Bolt EVs, a model now discontinued. As for the Ultium-based models, a mere 13,838 found homes in 2023, a disappointing return on the billions invested. Remember GM's ambitious plan to sell 400,000 EVs by 2023? Well, that plan has been parked indefinitely. Of the nearly 14,000 sales, 2/3 were the Cadillac Lyriq. The rest? They've been slow off the mark, with some models selling in the low hundreds. Experts suggest the issue isn't a lack of interest, but GM struggled to establish cost-effective, sustainable production. Meanwhile, Honda's business plan could hit a roadblock. The Japanese automaker recently launched its first all-electric model, the Prologue, in collaboration with GM. The deal? GM delivers 40,000 Prologues in 2024 and 70,000 in 2025. Given the current circumstances, that's looking increasingly unlikely. Sign number 5, Chevy Bolt EV, a hot topic. GM's journey into the realm of electric vehicles began with the Chevy Bolt, their first mass-produced EV. However, this pioneer was not without its flaws, most notably a propensity to catch fire due to certain design issues with the battery. Initially, GM recalled 50,000 Bolts manufactured between 2017 and 2019, but it soon became apparent that these EVs remained a fire hazard, even after the recall work was completed. In an interesting turn of events, GM officials advised customers to park their cars outdoors and away from structures to minimize potential damage. They were also advised to park their Bolt EVs on the top floor or an open-air deck and at least 50 feet away from other vehicles. Additionally, they were cautioned against leaving their vehicle charging unattended, even at a designated charging station. Last year saw another large-scale recall involving 111,000 Bolt EVs produced between 2017 and 2023, again due to a fire risk. This time the issue was with the seatbelt pre-tensioners, which could potentially ignite carpet fibers near the B-pillar in the event of a crash. GM's solution? Install metal foil on the carpet near the exhaust. Sign number 4, software slip-ups. If you've searched for GM EV problems, you'll know these EVs have had their fair share of reliability issues. The Blazer EV takes the crown, with so many issues that GM had to halt sales. Reports from Edmunds and other test drivers revealed that the Blazer was so poorly designed, it couldn't even complete a test ride. Infotainment system failures, battery issues, and inability to charge at public stations were just some of the problems. We now know these issues were caused by poor software design done in-house. GM addressed the problem quickly, and according to Barris Setnock, GM's Vice President of Products, Software and Services, all issues were fixed. However, the software update brought its own set of compromises. Charging may work, but GM software engineers couldn't solve problems with smartphone integration, so the Blazer EV no longer features Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Another major issue is the semi-autonomous driving system, Super Cruise, which still doesn't work as expected. Errors are common among all GM models, including Ultium-based EVs. The problem has just gotten bigger, considering that independent test teams established that Ford Super Cruise operates way better, is easier to use, and is more convenient in general. Before we delve deeper, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support fuels our passion to create more content like this. Now let's explore sign number 3, the roadblock for Silverado and Sierra EVs. It's no secret that Americans have a deep-seated love for pickup trucks, which is why GM's electrification efforts have been heavily focused on this segment. They kicked off their electric journey with the GMC Hummer pickup, but the real game changers were expected to be the all-electric Silverado and its GMC counterpart, the Sierra. GM had grand plans, not just to compete with the already selling F-150 Lightning, but to lay the groundwork for a model that would eventually replace the internal combustion Silverado and Sierra models, GM's biggest cash cows. However, a mix of factors, including high production costs, dwindling demand, and challenges in designing a competent electric pickup, have led to a production rate of just 500 units a month. Currently, only the base work truck version is available, and mass production has been pushed back to late 2025, with further delays possible. In essence, instead of the swift transition initially planned, it seems it will take years, if not decades, to fill the shoes of the stellar ICE versions of GM's full-size pickups. Sign number 2, the share buyback saga. Looking at GM's journey into the world of electric vehicles, it's evident that their ambitious drive towards rapid electrification has put both their capital and long-term sustainability at risk. Despite pouring billions into this venture, GM has struggled to streamline production. The high costs associated with EV production have kept production volumes low, as ramping up production would only lead to greater losses. Consequently, GM's management had no choice but to hit the brakes on their EV projects to safeguard their capital. This decision led to major delays in their EV projects, much to the disappointment of shareholders who felt that GM had fallen short of their expectations. In a bid to placate investors, GM's top brass, led by Barra, made a bold move. They decided to buy back shares worth a whopping $10 billion. This strategic move was aimed at restoring investor confidence. As per recent reports, this buyback program, which involves several banks including Bank of America Corp., Goldman Sachs Group Inc., Barclays Bank plc, and Citigroup Inc., is set to conclude later this year. Sign number 1, the hybrid hope. The EPA has recently introduced a proposal that's less ambitious than previous ones. The growth of EVs has come to a standstill, and the middle class isn't quite ready to embrace EV technology. In essence, it's clear that GM's rapid push into electrification needs a strategic rethink. Dealers, who are the direct link between buyers and the manufacturer, understand this best. They're well aware that mass adoption of EVs isn't on the horizon. They're prepared to do whatever it takes to avoid unnecessary investments in EV infrastructure, as the recent situation with Buick dealers clearly illustrates. Dealers are looking for vehicles that sell and bring in profits, and right now, that means hybrids and reliable gas-only cars. A look around the industry reveals that companies like Toyota, which have been investing in hybrids instead of EVs, are currently reaping the benefits, with profit margins at record highs. Hybrids are growing at a much faster pace than EVs, so it's no surprise that GM executives, including Barra, have already announced a shift in focus towards gas-electric vehicles in the future. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of vehicles. Don't forget to subscribe to Highway Herald to stay updated on the latest vehicle updates and upcoming videos. See you next time.